Welcome to Psychology Brothers, where we talk about many pointless things.
But with a point.
How are you doing, Craig?
I'm doing fine.
That's good to know. This week we're going to talk more about anxiety and what we've learned in our own lives about dealing with anxiety. Is there any areas of your life where you felt anxious, Craig?
I think anxiety can creep up every day, can't it, in some form? Small, minor ones, when you just need a bit of confidence to go and ask the manager for a pencil sharpener. Some people have that sort of confidence where working with a person they haven't worked with before, who seems a little bit sort of unapproachable, then you get working and they turn out to be a future friend. There's anxieties popping up almost all day, if you think about it, really.
You get anxious about asking for a pencil sharpener?
Only at the manager's door.
Okay. And what worries you about that, Craig?
Just because in case she hasn't got one. It's like, where do I go? HR?
And when you feel that anxiety, if you could express it through words and how it feels for you, how it feels for you physically, what does it feel like, anxiety, to you physically?
Physically, I suppose it starts with a thought, a quick lightning bolt of thought of, you're going to need a bit of confidence here. You're going to need to sort of change. You just feel that you feel yourself change, don't you?
So in other words, in those moments you're trying to be somebody that you are not. You're trying to force
not
yourself.
naturally, yeah.
So you're running away from being comfortable with who you are, which is probably someone who probably doesn't feel as confident as another part of you would like him to be.
Yeah, I suppose that's right, isn't it? You can have certain situations trigger that confidence, so you could speak about something that was out of your comfort zone. Somebody's talking about a subject you have no knowledge with or you just don't connect with, then you could suddenly lose a bit of confidence in that way. You could be put on the spot in a certain, say, sexual remark. You feel yourself blush a tiny bit, other people notice, then your confidence hits rock bottom and it's hard to get back that original thingy. And I think it starts with a little bit of doubt upon yourself, doesn't it? You doubt yourself for a split second, that negative thoughts come in, and sometimes you can override it, sometimes it probably gets a little bit worse.
Yeah. And what would you say makes it worse?
The thinking negative thoughts, the thinking of, this situation could go bad, this could be a pickle for me, this could be a difficult moment, and then you realise it's never as bad, it's never that bad. You kind of just always get over it.
So talk to me about what triggers there have been in your life that have triggered your anxiety in the past. You talked then about saying something that may be interpreted incorrectly and it causes you maybe to blush a little, and then you trying not to be seen blushing and exposing that vulnerable side to you makes you feel even more insecure and vulnerable, and the blushing then increases. So what you're trying to do more or less is you're trying to portray yourself as something as strong and powerful, and to portray yourself as your true self, which is somebody that actually naturally feels a little bit vulnerable sometimes, is quite scary to you. So that's a trigger for you. What other triggers are that bring up your anxiety? You talked to me a little bit this evening about, say, usually your social network, a lot of people around you have all of a sudden become a little bit negative towards you, and that's triggered some anxiety.
I think probably most people would like to have the people around them very similar to them and them sort of character, your sort of character. So having someone, say if you was in a really good place mentally, and having somebody who was in a really bad place mentally, I mean, if you couldn't help them snap out of it, it's very hard to stay around that person. A lot of it's just not nice, because even though, say, it's somebody that you want to be there for, it's almost that it gets inside you. You have a little bit of that negativity, and it does you no good. And I've come to the conclusion that you have to make a sort of sacrifice, and the sacrifice always has to be the other person, no matter what it is. If that person is causing you too much negative energy, too much sort of toxic behaviour, then you have to make that the person the sacrifice, because if you make you the sacrifice, you can go into that place with them.
I've come to a conclusion as well.
Yeah.
You talk too much. Now, let's talk about what actually is going on unconsciously to you and me and Craig when we feel anxiety. And what we've learnt is that anxiety comes about when we're trying to escape how we feel in that present moment. So i.e. when Craig was blushing and he felt that anxiety creeping up, he would have done anything to try and get out of being in that situation. Hence, then the anxiety begins. So what type of coping mechanisms or behaviours or thoughts can you adopt in those moments when you reject those parts of yourself, or you try and escape that present reality? Can you adopt to take that level of anxiety down?
I'm going to give you a bombshell now. People have a problem with being themselves. They think that they can't show the world who they actually are, and sometimes I'm a Craig that goes red. It's a thing that happens to most people.
And I think you look really cute red.
I do, don't I?
You look even cuter when you're purple, but red's quite nice as well.
But so the bombshell is, why don't we all just try and be who we are?
All be red. Imagine if we could all be red. We'd feel vulnerable and insecure when we was a normal pink colour.
But not enough people that are true to themselves, and a lot of people say they're honest, but I don't believe they are, because we judge all the time, don't we, that behaviour is different and wrong. And
so what Craig's probably trying to say here is, why can't you own your uniqueness and your craziness? Instead of being afraid of people seeing all the parts of you that you like to keep hidden away, why can't you own and learn to appreciate and admire yourself for all the parts that make up who you are?
Do you believe that maybe someone could see you as weird?
Me as weird? No. No.
I believe that there's a lot of people that I've heard that have says, I just wish that I wasn't weird. And the truth is, everybody is weird to somebody else.
Some more than others.
Unless you find that perfect matching clothes.
Some people are really weird though, aren't they, if you're fair about it. Yes, own your weirdness, but some people really are just on that edge of being too weird.
I don't think they are.
You don't think they are?
I think they're in a unique place of that's just them.
Right?
That's just them. You could have 7 children and all 7 of them will be totally different characters.
John Merrick. Weird or not weird?
Absolutely beautiful man. Beautiful.
Elephant Man. Okay then.
To have to imagine the mindset of the Elephant Man just going off track.
The Queen. Weird or not weird?
The Queen's weird, yeah.
Is she on the borderline of being too weird though? She wears a crown. It's the 21st century. She walks around.
I wear a crown.
She walks around with a
no,
crown.
That's a tiara.
She walks around with a crown on her head. Come on, that's borderline weird.
It's not. It's just who she is. She's been brought up to say that she has to wear a crown.
Okay, Kim Kardashian. Weird, come on. you've got to say that she may be
No.
just on the borderline of being too weird.
No, another beautiful, unique character. I mean,
Okay.
she came from nothing. She came from nothing. And, you know, look at... Why didn't you mention her before the Queen? She's an amazing role model. I mean, look what she's done. Look at what she gives to the world. Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian. That's weird. Right, so let's go back then. Let's go back to our anxiety. Let's go back to what our triggers are. Let's go back and identify what it is inside of ourselves that we fear. And when that becomes partly a situation, a realism within our reality, that trigger sends us down that fight or flight response of pure, fearful, uncontrollable anxiety. How do we learn to cope with that? I would say the only way to learn to cope with that is understanding that anxiety is a normal part of being a human being. And no matter how uncomfortable it feels at the time, it's going to pass. It's going to pass, and you're going to feel better at the end of it.
I think people sometimes don't know that they're in it. That's the biggest, you know, at least understand you've got an anxiety over something, and then when you understand that, think back at, you know, retrace that to see where the root cause of that is, and then why not figure out how you can help yourself? If nobody wants to admit to anxieties, but we all have them, they dictate every part of our living day. So I think just owning up to that fact. And I think that we're coming to the end of this video, aren't we?
No, I've just sent a text message. Alright, carry on. What was you saying?
So retracing the steps of where the anxiety comes from, and help. Do you ever help yourself? Do you keep getting red and it's because you lack confidence in groups?
Red's good.
Now, do you first of all do anything to think, right, how can I stop going red? Because when I go red, it's a lot worse.
Purple's better.
So I don't think anybody helps themselves. One, they're not proud enough to be themselves.
Why don't they help themselves, Craig? I would say the reason why they don't help themselves is because they've never known how to help themselves. And this is why it's good watching videos as such, because you learn more about yourself and you learn more about how you can support you rather than depending upon everyone else to support you with needs that could never be met enough to keep you happy. You've got to support you, and if you're supporting you, it means watching videos, reading books that's going to learn you more about you and give you more acceptance of yourself. Then that's how you really can help you. People don't know how to help themselves. The only way they know how to help themselves is what they was brought up to sense what help is.
Well, let me say something now. An anxiety is a thought, isn't it? It's a thought that goes into your mind and you can choose what to do based on that thought. You have 50,000 a day thoughts go through your mind, whether to pick salt and vinegar or cheese and onion crisps. These are all thoughts.
But is anxiety a feeling? The thought creates the anxiety, doesn't it? The feeling.
So the feeling can come up as well. Now remember, if you're cold, you can turn the heating on. So when you get a feeling of anxiety or a thought, remember that you're still your own creator of that. You can still look at them two things objectively from a far point and say, right, the feelings come up, a thought's come up, now I'm going to act on the next few seconds in a way where I'm going to handle myself, because I've understood this Rubik's Cube in front of me. I've got 3 seconds to put the pieces together, and now I can react probably a lot calmer than I've ever reacted before, because I've worked out why probably 2 or 3 years ago, I'd be swearing and going mad at someone for the exact same thing. So
He definitely talks too much. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Good luck with me editing that.